What's going on, guys? Welcome to Cruising with Kevin. Happy New Year to everybody. Today I'm going to be working on not this. I'm just playing musical vehicles with because my garage doesn't have enough space to actually fit two vehicles right now because I have so much junk in here, but I'm going to work on that in the future. So before it gets cold here, I was running around and I picked up a bunch of parts for my 2015 Silverado, so I'll show you guys what that's about. But first we got to move this junk out of the way. All right, put this thing on the battery charger, see if it'll fire up there. I start it at least probably once every week or two because I'm always moving in and out of here for projects, so. Still haven't put any exhaust on it. That's the only reason I don't actually regularly drive it. See if it'll fire up here. Not gonna lie, even though that thing bleeds your ears, it sounds awesome. So this is what we're gonna be working on today. So I'll show you what happened. You guys saw it in the other video there, but I'll show you that and then show you what I got for parts here. Okay, so you can see I got a fender here. I'll show you what exactly happened here. If you guys are watching my other videos, you kind of saw I was unloading a skid steer off my trailer. It unloaded the weight of the back of the tires there. Ended up kind of taking off. By the time I rolled the skid steer forward to get it weighted, it was already skidding with the e-brake on, and it went into a tree. So it's kind of a stupid, weird thing. Anyways, so this is what happened. So basically it damaged the hood, the fender. It didn't get any frame damage. Insurance came and looked at it. The bumper, the headlight, and it did break the grill a little bit. I might be able to reuse that for now. I'm not sure. I didn't really think about that, to be honest, until this very second. Looks like it maybe, yeah, broke that too. So what I've been looking for is, like, I've been trying to find color matched parts for it so I wouldn't have to paint them. So I saw this online. When it was online, just the way they had the angle or whatever it was, it looked like it was the same color. And I've been having a really hard time, I guess, because silver is a really popular color in these trucks. So when they come up, they sell like instantly. But when I got there to look at this one, it was only $250. And as you could see, it's an actual GM genuine parts one, which these things are like $1,200–1,300, I think, for a new one, something like that. So it was pretty hard to turn that down. So I got that. I'll show you what else I bought here. I actually kind of got lucky yesterday, which again, it's not perfect, but I had to laugh because I didn't want to lay it on the trailer. But it's off a Duramax truck, a younger guy there. Went and picked it up yesterday. I was showing him my YouTube channel, but Yeah, he upgraded his to like a newer style Duramax hood, which actually looked really good on his truck. And I think he painted his truck, so it actually looked pretty cool. He had some big wheels and things on it that aren't really my flavor, but that's all right. It was nice to see younger guys out there at least working on things and stuff. So, but since my truck's just kind of a beater, it didn't really matter. So we threw it up here, we strapped it on. The only thing, it has the Duramax tags on it, which I don't know if they're just stuck on. They're probably just glued on or something, I'd imagine. So I could probably take those off too, but don't really care, honestly. So I got that, and I'll show you what else I bought for it. Okay, so I was on the road the last couple days there, and on the road I was just kind of looking for parts, and so yesterday I had found this one. It's actually in really good shape. It's a front bumper, but it comes with the valance too, or valence, or however you say it there. The only difference here is that mine has the fog lights and this doesn't, so I would have preferred to get it with that just because I never use them. It's just fitment. Ironically, the guy actually took it off because he found one that had fog lights on it, so that was kind of funny. But so I paid $250 for this. I paid $200 for the hood, and I paid another $250 for the fender. Yesterday, my wife went to town and got color matched paint for the fender. I know it's not going to be perfect, but actually, as a matter of fact, that fender, I'll show you that right away here. But that fender actually wasn't really. So one time I washed it and I soaked it with bug spray, and it's so hot here and it was super windy that day, and it like ran down. I know it would have buffed out, but it's been like that since because I don't really care because it's a work truck. So but I'll show you, it kind of had run marks in it there. So that's what the plan is here. I'm going to start tearing this thing apart today. Hopefully I can get my wife to help me here a little bit. So this is going to be one of the last nicer days. And you guys can see with my camper on the truck there, the truck doesn't fit inside the garage. So I want to start banging this thing apart. Hopefully get it painted here today. It's not really as warm as I'd like it to be for painting. It's supposed to warm up this afternoon. So I've done this for years. This was last summer. I don't wash this truck like regular because it's always on the highway. It doesn't really get that super dirty. So it got muddy one time and I soaked it down with, actually I think that's what it was. It was full of bugs. So I soaked it down with the bug stuff, which I always do. But by the time I got back to it, you can kind of see there, it kind of got into the clear a little bit because it dried so fast. So whatever, it would have buffed out, but like I said, it's been like that anyway. So we'll see what it ends up looking like, I guess, once it's all back together here, and hopefully it's not too much of an ordeal. I've never done this. This isn't typically what I do on my channel, you guys see, but since I have to do it, there's probably people that are interested in how it's done. So I guess we'll try to show you guys and probably show you the wrong way to do it, I suppose. All right, I decided to back it up a little bit because if I would have left it, it would have been hitting when I opened up the hood, it would have been hitting the garage door there. This is only like a 7-foot garage door, which is funny because the garage itself, if you look in there, it's got like probably 12, 13 feet of height in here. So I don't really understand why they didn't put a taller door, at least an 8 or something. That's kind of strange, but I guess it was just for cars. So anyways, I'm gonna start tearing this thing down. Okay, so I'd always just try to grab some of these magnetic trays there. I'm just going to set them on my son's old engine out of his square body here. Ran better than the one that's in it. We'll talk about that another day, though. Part of my hesitation here to the only reason I'm actually doing this is because my driver's door won't open. So I don't know if I really showed you that, but what happened is it actually got shoved back there. So this entire thing is all the way back there. I almost cut it out a little bit, but I was like, whatever, man. I'm not gonna be that ghetto. I do some ghetto things, but not quite that bad. So you could see down here though, this whole electrical box is on it there. That's like the entire fuse box for everything. So it looks like it's just bolted on there. The other thing I can kind of see here already, if we look from the front there, this hinge is bent. So it's bent to the side a little bit. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. Hopefully it's just able to be straightened enough to get the hood back on and lined up good enough. So anyways, I guess I'll start the teardown now. Okay, I decided I'm going to start prepping this first since I need to get this painted before we put it on. So I didn't think about getting some sanding blocks there. So actually, just as I was looking in the camera there, I found another one. So I do have some sanding blocks, but it was used for for drywall, so, but I found this one. I don't know if this is coarse enough, but they had written on it, so I don't know. Yeah, should come off pretty easy. So I just wanted to get this marker off and just give it a light scuff. It was already primed. Like I said, this is a GM fender, so that's good. I see there was a tiny little ding in it somewhere here, and I see somebody already got grease on it, so I'm going to have to degrease the whole thing here, make sure it's good before I prime it. But it's about as warm as it's going to get here, so I'd like to get it primed before it gets too cold later on today. I think this is going to be like the warmest day of the week here, so try to see if we can get this taken care of. My other truck has the bull bar on it, and when that thing got banged up there, I don't know if that helped or hurt it. This one didn't get anything like a broken radiator or anything like that, so I don't know if that was a detriment or not. I hate it when they write on things, especially a part that you're going to have to paint. Like, why wouldn't they have written on a part that wasn't like important? You see that lots of like auction sales and stuff. You'll go to like look at like a piece of equipment or something, and they write on it with some weird, like, it's almost like a chalk marker, or like it's like super hard to get off sometimes. So anyway, I cleaned this thing up with some degreaser. I used some Windex after that. You try to use like lint-free cloths to wipe it down. If you have a tack cloth, that works the best. I didn't, and this isn't going to be anything super fancy, so I'm getting ready to prime this thing. So see what take a couple coats of primer and make sure it's good, and then we'll throw some paint on. Trying to give it a light coat here. Might have to stand it up. It's hard to do it when it's on its side like this. Do all the side stuff first here. I don't like painting in my garage because it's attached to my house, so it's not my favorite thing to do, but it's what I got here. You notice how this primer has like a fan type spray. If you get the ones that are like not that, it leaves like circles when you're going. So, and then it's like a tiny spray. It makes it really hard to lay it down. So think about that when you're buying it. Okay, got my wife here. We're trying to figure out how this front end comes off. It looks like there's like 10 million screws holding the valance or whatever on there. So we're going to try to figure that out. I have a trim tool kit here. We're going to see what we need to do to get all of this off. Probably just a bunch of time more than anything. So I'm going to start working on that now. So I think we're going to take the hood off here first, just because then I can start seeing what I need to do to unbolt the fender. I normally use power tools for this, but my ratchet's been acting up, and it's kind of big for these ones. I wish there was like a smaller, like compact 3/8 ratchet, because that one's not my favorite. I guess we'll go up and over this way. Oh, okay.
Where are you going with it?
I guess over here.
They're not as heavy as the square body hoods, at least.
Just those 4 bolts to get the hood off, which is easy. So now the actual hard part begins. I'm going to take the battery cable off because I'm going to be working on this. I'll let you start looking what you need to do to take this off. If you need my help, just let me know.
Oh, I don't even know what I'm taking off.
I don't either.
Oh, okay.
So you could see where it's attached on that one, all the lower bolts here. So this is what attached to the plastic here, and all of these, I guess.
To this plastic?
Yeah, that's what holds that on. But if we could take it off without that, we probably aren't going to reuse that one anyway. So might be able to just start taking these.
You mean just leave that thing on and take the whole...
That's what I'm kind of wondering, if we could do it that way, because we're not going to use any of those parts anyways. So what actually holds the bumper on? It looks like there's 2 uppers here and 2 lowers.
I don't know how you get those 2 uppers though without taking that plastic off.
I don't know either.
Because the uppers are in.
Just go underneath there and see if you can see them, I guess.
I guess I just start taking bolts off. It's like it's 1, 2. How many bolts do we figure?
If you can get the ratchet in there, we can use the cordless ratchet.
1, 2. Where else are we thinking it holds on?
All the plastic?
No, to the truck.
I'm assuming just these 4, and then maybe here. Yeah, there too. So
these 4. How do you see 4? I see 2.
1, here.
Oh, that's
one here.
that one right there. Oh, and
So
that
this one's
one.
actually threaded into here. This one looks like it's a bolt that clamps down.
What does that mean? A bolt that clamps down?
Like it's got like a bolt and a nut. That one's actually got a nut into the frame.
Okay, well I know where that bolt is. I haven't figured out where that bolt is.
I might be able to take these. So I'll show you what we're talking about here. Okay, so what it looks like, from what we can see, we've never done this for the ever. So it looks like it's a bolt here, 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 and then the same on the other side. For sure that bolts it to the frame, but the problem we're having is this plastic valance is in the way, which is all of these and a bunch underneath the bottom. So that'll be an hour job, probably just pulling the bolts off for that, but looks like we might have to get out.
Why can't we just take that bolt and take this whole thing off?
Well, we can, but it's still got all of these.
Oh.
So it's the same difference. Whew, I'm getting toasty already. Usually I'm the cold one, but I'm getting sweated up. That's the worst. But anyways, we're going to jack it up and put it on some jack stands because we're having a hard time getting underneath the front with this plastic in the way there. So jack it up, put it on some jack stands, should make it a lot easier to work on. We'll do this part first, tear all that down. I have no idea how any of the grill or any of this stuff comes out. I think it just pulls out, but and I still don't have a headlight. So once I get that apart, I guess, I don't know. I don't even know if anything's open today, honestly, so I might have to just deal with that after the fact. I got my son one of these jacks from Harbor Freight. It was on sale for Christmas there. It's a 3-ton low-profile Daytona. Works pretty good. They use them at our local tire shop. I think they're the same as this, and they use them to lift up and change like tire rotations and stuff. They've got 4 of them there and things like that, so seems to be a decent jack. I have a couple huge Princess Auto ones I've had forever. I guess I shouldn't say huge, but they're bigger than the other ones that I have.
You went to a car museum yesterday.
I know, show me.
You didn't show me.
Our son's in Southern California with his uncle and cousin right now. Family over there, and they're doing whatever. So yesterday they went to the Peterson Auto Museum in Los Angeles, California. So that was kind of cool. They have all the movie cars and things like that there.
All right.
First time he's had, I think, real days off in like a year. He's been working pretty hard, going to school full time, working full time. So pretty awesome to have a little break. Okay. So I'm going to take this battery fuse box out, I guess. And then I don't really know. I guess there's a couple crossbars that hold together to hold it in here. Looks like there's like a secondary. This is kind of a, I guess it's better than that side because that's where a lot of the other annoying things are, like the air box and things like that. But this side has, like, if you had a diesel, it would have a second battery over here. So there's a tray for that. There's the, looks like the windshield washer bottles over here. It's like super tight in there now because when it got squished. Like I said, if it hadn't been for the, which, I mean, I should fix it anyways, but if it hadn't been for, like, basically getting in behind the door here, I probably would have just dealt with it because who cares? It's just a work truck, but everything still worked fine. The headlights, all that kind of stuff, it was still actually working, but it did crack the lens and whatever, so. Okay, so what I'm dealing with here is I'm trying to take this battery plate out, then I'll take these 2 crossbars out here. I took the one screw off the battery box. I'll have to get a smaller wrench to get that side off. Looks like there's a couple zip ties holding that in there. And then all this front plate will have to come off. There's quite a bit going on here, so hopefully we can get this all done today. All right, I don't know any more about what she's doing here than what she knows, so she's just figuring out she goes here. The other bumper has all the parts in case the view brake stuff. Doesn't really matter. She's trying to get out all the bolts. They put them in really stupid places here. I don't know why GM thought you need 200 bolts to hold the plastic on the front end of this thing, like whatever. But what's weird about it is it got hit in the front here, and that plastic didn't return itself, which was kind of strange. But anyways, I'm going to continue on here, start taking some more of these other bolts off for this crossbar and some of this other stuff here. And then we'll...
Do you have an extension I can use on this?
Yep, it's on the top drawer there.
Of this?
Yep, right there. Hi. Okay. Okay, we're just slowly working our way through this to try to get these bolts off here. I'm gonna try to get a screwdriver in to hold the clip because one of these clips is spinning.
Where we get it out?
Oh, did we miss a piece?
I don't know. That's what I was trying to figure
Right
out.
here, there's a screw, I think. If you've watched to this point, and you actually care, these bolts that hold the bracket on are 15 millimeter. The rest of them were pretty much 10 so far. Like I say, this isn't normally what I would do on my channel, but since I have to do it, I might as well show you guys. There's power wires going to something.
I'm assuming the headlights. It goes from one side to the other.
Fog lights? Did you take that over?
No.
Oh.
It's not unplugged. It's plugged in. You have to get on it first.
I know. This thing's like sucky now. We were like using it as like a trying to loosen up really tight bolts at one time, and then it's been getting worse ever since, where it just like doesn't work until you shake it sometimes.
There we go.
Okay. So,
All right, success. I'm done with my job.
yeah. So I don't know what this power does. I guess it's probably to the lights. It looks like maybe.
Oh, you don't have fog lights?
No, not the new one doesn't.
Oh, like that one doesn't even have a spot for a fog light. So is it different headlights then for that one?
Yeah. I was looking, but I couldn't find one. So when I was searching for this one, like I said, I mentioned that in the video this morning. I couldn't find one with fog lights. I could have got a new one. It wasn't like crazy a bunch more. Like I think they had them on Amazon, but I think they still didn't have fog lights, and they're like $650 maybe or something.
So
I think they were like $1,000 or something, some along the lines of that with fog lights. Which, if the truck was really nice still, which actually isn't terrible, but and same, it's got a ton of miles on it, 470,000 miles, and it's had little things. So I just don't want to spend a bunch of money on it. To me, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, what was I doing before I was so rudely interrupted?
So rudely interrupted to fix your truck.
Okay, she's working taking the bumper brackets off. This one's got like just a small torque spits to get this fender liner off. I'm gonna have to use it because I don't have one for it. It looks like it's an okay shape anyway. It's amazing on these used trucks how much of a difference that makes for sound. So get this thing tore off here and maybe see what else the next step is here. I have no idea how this all comes apart, so hopefully it's not like a big complication here. All right, there's a lot of bolts and a lot of stupid places, especially after it's been in a fender bender. So, holy cow, this is ridiculous. I'm just gonna go on a limb here and say the bolts aren't probably all gonna go back in. We'll see how it all comes apart here, but this is kind of a pain. I guess if everything was perfectly straight, it would probably be easier to get wrenches and stuff on the bolts here, but well, we'll work through it anyways. All right, there's two bolts. One is going to be back in here on this side, and the other one is going to be back in here on this side. They go in from the top and they go down. That one's an 18 millimeter, so that's going to be, this one looks like it's not too bad, but this side is bent or whatever the deal is, I guess. It's bent in, so, man. So there's two higher yet above, so I might have to take the grill out to figure that part out. I'm not sure yet. Okay, I'm just going on a limb and say this is maybe not going to work for much longer. Ooh, not good. Come on, Ryobi, get it together. Ooh, that reeks. Our Ryobi drill just did the same thing like a week ago there, a couple weeks ago. My son was using it to drill through metal, but I have Ryobi tools from like 20 years ago that still work fine. I don't know why all of a sudden now they're just making them in China or something. All right, well, I guess I'll try to do this by hand again. It's like really tight here and there's not enough room to get any leverage in here to like actually turn it, so glove back on. My hands are old and worn out from years of doing manual labor. Well, that was just ridiculous. There's no reason that they should have put them there. Okay, so we're trying to take the grill out. There's 4 10mm bolts at the top here, so we're gonna pull those out, and then we'll see what we need to do after that. Okay, so what happened here is when it bent in the grill, it's bent so you can't get it bent in the bumper, so you can't get the bolts for the grill out, which in turn you can't get the top bolts for the bumper out. So I'm gonna try to cut this one tab, and hopefully that's good enough. I don't really have a whole lot of options here. Hopefully there's nothing super important down there. I don't want to be cutting, but I'll try it anyways. Ooh. I think it's cut through. I don't know why it's not moving still, but I get the rest of the tabs out now.
Yeah, there's one all the way at the end there.
What?
Like way in there.
Oh my gosh. How? This is freaking stupid. I'm gonna end up having to buy a grill for this thing, I guess. You think that's what's holding it?
That's the only thing holding it left.
Are you sure there's one there?
You can see, look on that side. There's one all the way down.
Oh, for frick's sakes. No, mine said 28 or 21 or whatever, but oh. This is so stupid.
Make sure we're saving that girl.
I thought I was gonna have to replace it anyways because it was already broken on that other side, but
Yeah, you just have to fully pop out those and then pull it out.
let's see now this. Frick. It's like catching on this flat tab now. When I pull it this way, can you get your arm in there and pry that tab? Like right here. I don't know. Let's get this side up first though. Okay, well this didn't go as fast as I thought it would. I didn't think it'd be an all-day ordeal just to get the freaking bumper off. Man, imagine vehicles that are like really smashed and they gotta take them apart. No wonder the labor is like so crazy.
Cut it.
Well, it's not gonna come out without that anyway, so we didn't have a choice. If I cut it on this side.
You're replacing the grill anyways.
Yeah.
With yeah.
Okay, that was ridiculous. But now we still don't have access to the bolt because this thing's in the way. So we're gonna have to cut a little bit out of this just to get at the top bolt for this bumper. It looks like the frame's bent. Insurance said it wasn't, but I'm pretty sure once we get this off of here, we're gonna see that it is. So we'll figure that out, I guess, once we get to it.
Don't watch it.
Ooh. Okay. Oh. Ta-da. Ta-da. The frame's bent. Ta-da. Big shock. Okay. Insurance said it wasn't enough to write it off because there was no frame damage, and I said it looks like the frame's bent, and they said no, it's not. And I'm just going to show you here. If you look at the other side, see how the bracket is straight. I know this may not seem like it, but that's how it's supposed to be. So that's going to be a problem to bolt the bumper back up now. And I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to get it perfectly straight for everything to line back up because it's not even close. So another problem here. And you can see it rolled this all back, this whole, like this entire bracket and everything is bent here. That means that all this fender, everything is not going to line up good now. That's going to be an issue for sure. I don't know about this side. This side looks okay. See how that one's like flush? And this one's like, yeah, you can see where it actually lifted the whole thing here. Definitely got pretty trashed. Okay, the headlight was broken, so we just pulled it out of there, and you could see it's pretty twisted up on this whole radiator sport frame, all this stuff. And again, it's not gooder. So I don't know if this is all going to bolt back together good. I don't know how that didn't break the tank for this. I guess we'll see once we get it all apart, but that's really twisted. So we'll see how the fitment is, I guess. Alright, the problem we're having here is that we can't open the door because of how it's like hitting here. It's behind the fender, and there's 2 bolts inside there, so I've been trying to reach it from underneath. We got everything else off here. There's basically some bolts up here, a few into the front there. But we just got these last 2 bolts and it would come off, but we're trying to figure out how to do that without damaging anything else. So I think I'm going to cut back a little bit of this fender so we can maybe see the bolts. We're running out of daylight here, so we'll see what we can get done. All right, we're at day 2 of this debacle. It's been kind of a little bit of a nightmare to try to fit this fender back in because everything's so tweaked here. So kind of 50-50 of whether or not I should have gone through insurance at the time, but it bent some of this metal down at the bottom here, the whole radiator support. and that kind of in turn made it want to pull back that way, which in turn made the fender kind of want to pull that way a little bit more. So there was a little bit of figuring there. It's not perfect, but it's not going to be perfect. So I sent my son to get some headlights and a grill for it. These things are like almost $600 for a set of like factory headlights. So found some for $50 and a grill for $150. So we'll get that. But in the meantime, we're going to try to start putting the bumper and everything back on this thing, I guess. First thing we got to do here, I guess, is try to straighten out this bumper bracket. And I don't know how that's all going to work here. So I'll see if I can get a pipe wrench on it and just try to bend it over and see what happens here, I guess. Okay, so I tried to put a pipe wrench on this and it's just wanting to bend that bracket. So I'm going to take the bracket off first, try to bend the plate back into place. It's actually, it hits some lines here. I don't really know exactly what these lines are for. Some sort of cooler for something. Anyways, so we'll take the bracket off and see if we can straighten it out, but it actually hit these lines here, so I don't know. It's so future advice for people is if they tell you that your frame's not bent and it's got that much damage like that, take it to a body shop and get them to take it apart, and at least then they probably would have written it off and I would have been able to get the money out of it to get another truck or whatever, but I'm into it now, so we're just going to fix it. All right, I'm going to try again with a pipe wrench here. Try to see if I could get on this thing to see if I can get this pulled away. This isn't really ideal here. It actually twisted the bottom of the bracket here on the other side too, which is kind of a weird way that it broke. If you look at this, if you look closely at this, this plate is basically slipped over top of there. So if you were a good welder and you could find a truck that wasn't like wrecked up here, just chop it off and then you could grind off the welds or whatever and weld it back into here, you'd be in business. But I don't have a good enough welder to be able to weld metal that strong. Plus, I'm not a very good welder, so try to give it a little at a time here.
Too much on the bottom, not enough on the top.
Yeah, so it's pretty. It's like it's washed in that way because the whole thing went to that direction. So it's probably not going to be totally even here. I think I would say that this side of it probably is actually not. I think that's probably not.
It needs to get pushed down a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull it out a little ways. As long as the bolt holes still line up. Might have to hammer that in once we try to get the.
I think you might have to hammer this in too. Like get this pulled out a little more on this side, and then we'll try hammer these two flush.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still got a pretty good curve to it. It's hard because these lines are in the way. I don't want to break something here, so just trying to work it a little bit at a time here. It's hard to do it without bending, like because it wants to bend, of course, naturally at the crease of it where you can kind of see there. It's wanting to bend at this crease here. So, and I can't get anything behind here to bend that. I might have to. Not
That's
sure.
what needs to get bent is right there.
Yeah. All right. I have an old slide hammer that's actually been beaten up quite a bit, so the threads are kind of warm where the handle would normally go. But I'll try to put this together. We're going to see if we can get in behind here and just try to give it a couple bangs here. I need a new one of these. Moving it all?
It did. Pull it out a little bit. Needs to be more here. Yeah. Oops.
Oh. I guess that's where the nut that's stripped is at. Might just have to weld that on there at some point. Well, I guess that's not gonna work. I had a feeling that was gonna happen.
Yeah, because it's bending it needs to be like pulled out from the top.
Yeah, like the pipe wrench. If we had a flat piece of metal or something like that, that was long enough to get in there to work with the wrench, it might straighten the entire thing. But because I don't have a solid piece of metal, I'm gonna look around the house here and see if I got some. Okay, we're kind of in the middle of a whole bunch of different things here. We couldn't get that to straighten. I have an idea for that. Before we do that, while it's cold, I'm going to get my wife to start it because I'm looking for, there's like a new exhaust leak. So it's a kind of a long story. I'll explain it another day. But basically, I'm trying to find a leak here to see if there's a new leak here. But I'm starting to think the performance problems with this thing or the issues it's been having is that maybe the muffler is plugged. So I'm going to check to see, and this might determine that. So we're going to start it while it's cold here. You'll hear how loud it is. I took it apart last week to see about the catalytic converter at the back there. It had been hauled already, but for some reason those bolts completely, or the nuts are completely gone from that. So that explains why it got so loud all of a sudden. Not sure what was up with that. But anyways, we're going to try some other things here at Kevin's Body Shop.
The question I always ask myself when helping my husband: what did I get myself into?
Okay, so I'm trying to back up now, trying to straighten out. So first time there, we tried to straighten out the bracket, which we got it pulled out enough. Now I'm going to pull back and try to pull the actual the radiator support there to try to get this fender to pull back a little bit because it's almost touching the door when we close it still. And it's because that radiator bracket is pushing it forward. Dude, that was a terrible paint matching job. It's like not even the right color. So what we're trying to do is see how far it is away from when we open the door is binding with the fender, so we're trying to get it forward a little bit. Everything's kind of misaligned now. We could tell it's obviously went some because the bolts that we had snugged in are loose now, so. Okay, so we loosened the bottom bolt off on it, on the fender there, to try to allow it to slide a little bit more, but it's not going that great here. It's better.
Still kidding, but it's better. Definitely a bigger space now than there was before.
Grab the bottom some more then. Yeah, probably it would be better if you hold it like this and then we get it snugged up so that it wraps in this corner. What? Good? All right, we're having microphone problems there. One of the mics didn't charge for some weird reason, so mine wasn't working for a bunch of that audio there. So anyways, long story short here, we just hooked a chain to a tree, and you can see down here, we pulled this bracket out because we couldn't hit it from the backside and it was all plastic back there. And then we wrapped a chain around this support here, pulled that out, kind of got it away from the door. Whoever mixed this paint here is like literally like the worst paint color matching I've ever seen in my life. I don't know where they thought that would match because that's not even close. It's not even the same color silver. So Not sure, I might have to go back to them and kind of complain a little bit. I'll drive the truck over and be like, you guys think this matches? But because that paint's pretty expensive. So anyways, at least the door closes now. We pulled it back and then we put this in there in the door and then we tightened the fender. So I think it's going to stay away now. It's super close still, but it definitely moved a lot. So next steps here, probably put the fender liner back on and start putting the front bumper back on once we get this front bumper plate a little bit more straight. So we're just kind of working with what we got here. All right, so it's kind of a fine line of trying to get everything perfect here because we pulled it out a bunch so that we could kind of pound it back straight again. So I'm gonna keep working it here. I think one of the problems is on looking at the plate itself is still twisted a little bit, so that's kind of an issue, but it's going to be hard to get this bumper like perfectly straight because of this bracket being bent. I guess in hindsight, should have went back to insurance. I didn't realize that this frame was bent. That she told me that it wasn't, so I just kind of believed her, but I suspect they might have written it off because most people say that if it's a bent frame, they'll just write it off because it's not worth the hassle. But we could have reopened the case here, but I mean, I didn't know this until I pulled it apart myself, and I didn't want to fight with them. And honestly, it still has potential to be a good truck. See, they tack weld these in there, and I guess I hit it. So, not that it really matters, but I'm going to try to just fit this back on here and see if this plate will even go on now. It's quite a bit of like wiggle room on it, so I think it will, but I have an idea here because I think what's going to happen is it's going to be needing to be out like this, so I'm going to put some washers in there and then I don't have to keep fighting it. So every time I go to auction sales and things like that, I always buy, anytime I see bolts or nuts or any of that kind of stuff, I buy them because they're so expensive now. So I stocked up a while back. We're probably gonna have to use a bunch of them here, it looks like. This side definitely needs to go way farther in. So I'm just comparing it to this side. So it's kind of like flush with the front of this plastic over here, and this side is probably another 1.5 inches, 2 inches out yet. So I'm gonna try to hit it with the bracket on there maybe and see if we can get it to go some.
Okay, let me get back. I don't really want you to.
Sorry, she's working on the other side there. That's what I'm thinking. Trying to do this without bending this other bracket too, so give her a few whacks with the sledgehammer. All right, she's working on putting, there's some bracketing underneath the tank for the washer fluid there, so she was just putting some of that stuff back together, and she's gonna put the liner in, but I had to pound it and don't want her head in there because it rings your ears too, so just try to give it a yeah, fellows, don't yank it too hard. Yeah, it does. I'm just trying not to hit anything important like the radiator, you know, all that kind of stuff. You guys can see what I'm doing here. This whole bracket needs to go back now because we have to pull it out for it to go forward. So just trying to do this without wrecking anything else. It's hard to hit it from this side because there's all this other stuff in the way. Crazy part is it's actually going straight now somehow. I have no idea how. Well, the bumper might not sit 100% like factory perfect, but.
Is there any bolts you have to bolt in there before I do this?
No, shouldn't be. Okay. Take a little breather from this. We're getting it close anyway, so everything has to line up kind of sensibly close, otherwise the bolts and everything will be janky and whatever. So just trying to figure that out now. What we're doing right now is trying to put the clips in for the fender, because it's got a whole bunch of those little snap-in clips that you put in to hold the fender liner in. So, whoa. I don't know, just gotta watch the fender there. Oh. I know I'm not high enough. I can normally hit it with my hip here, but scratched up the fender. Or what?
No, it's just like way lower than the fender here.
So hopefully everything else kind of lines up now. I'm not sure with the headlight and all that kind of stuff, but I have a really bad back as I get older, and it seems like the more I lay on like something like a creeper, the more it like hurts my back. I don't know why. But, I know laying on concrete isn't the greatest either, but it doesn't seem to hurt me as bad. So, all right, well, this has been a lot of ridiculousness. I'd like to eventually get a little rolling table. When I bought my son his toolbox for Christmas, that's originally what I was thinking, but figured since he's starting to get older, he can start building up his own little tool collection or whatever, so at least it's got a few drawers for some stuff. He actually has some tools that he has had for a little bit here, buying here and there for little projects of his. So, well, this is actually a decent bumper that looks quite a bit better already. You can kind of see we caught the corner of the fender there putting it on. That was my fault, and she cut the corner on the other side, which was her fault, so we're about even. There's quite a bit of a gap there, so I don't really know why it's like that. If that's something to do with, like we said, we can't get this to go in any farther. It's hard to tell how much is there, but yeah, look how bad that paint color is mismatched there. Ugh. I almost don't like that as much as the bent fender. That's annoying. So, have to get some of this stuff back in to get the hood on. I can see this bracket here is bent, which I don't understand why. Let's look at the other side. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be perfectly straight, so don't know how that got bent. Probably was us, I'm sure. So I guess I'll straighten that out and then should be able to start putting things back together for the hood. All right, well, I am filthy now, but I put the front valance or whatever you want to call it on there. I didn't even put all the screws in it because you can't even get it half of them. So I think if you guys are ever doing this, the idea is that it's supposed to be put on before you put the bumper on. I didn't want to risk scratching up the paint any worse by taking the bumper back off and putting it on, but I guess that's what we should have done. It's got a couple little, you could see at the edge of it there, it's kind of a little bit beat up or whatever because this bumper was used and it came with this bumper, and the old one that I had for my old one was kind of trash, so it'll do anyway. So got pretty much the bulk of the bolts in. There's like a couple little screws that I missed that aren't gonna really matter. So looks all right. We're waiting for our son to bring us back the headlights and the grill, and then after that we should be good to go. She's working on still finishing up. We had to take all the clips out of the old fender to put it in to hold this fender skirt in, so that's kind of annoying. I never put the plate back in for the second battery there just because of how this thing was. It wouldn't have fit, so but for the most part it looks not too bad. Just the paint color, that's going to really bug me every time I see it there. I do have another can of that paint somewhere, but from a different vehicle. I'm going to see if I can find it, because if I can, I know that's a way closer color. I can tell just to look at it, and I might just hit with that. But yeah, not really happy with that paint. I didn't like how it sprayed. It didn't really come very good. There's a place, if you guys are in Iowa by chance, there's a place in Des Moines that mixes paint there. I can't remember the name of it, but we've mixed paint there before, and it has a catalyst in it, so you pop the bottom of it, and then once you mix it, you have to use it right away. I had bought some from there one time, and I got a bad, like a couple cans, and then they just gave me new ones. And after that, I mean, it sprayed like professional paint. Like it was actually really good. So I was hoping this would have been the same, but my son said he thought it would be okay, but it's not very good in my opinion. So anyways, so that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna get the rest of it together, and then hopefully it all fits once we get the headlight and stuff back in it. All right, still waiting for my son to get back. We put the fender liner in, everything else is ready to go on the front end, so not sure how it'll all fit, but whatever. So I was rummaging through my old stuff here. I always keep old cans of paint and stuff around until I just use them up or whatever. I'll spray them on whatever, but I'm not sure what this one came from. This one is a WA926L fine silver birch metallic. I don't really care for how this Duplicolor stuff sprays because it doesn't have the fan tip on it, and it's hard to get consistent like look to it. And then the other one I have, I know this just off the top of my head because I looked for this color forever. It is man, can't remember. Anyways, 2011 Silverado 20 or 1500. Let's see if it says on here. Oh, sheer silver metallic. They call it something else too, though. But anyways, the code on this one was WA726S. So I feel like this one, like if you look at this, like look at how close this one is. So this is the Duplicolor one, but like look at this and then look at that. I mean, it's like, it's probably hard to see in the video, but I mean this overlaid of this looks almost exact. This one I'm not sure because I don't have a paint code for it, and I've had this for probably 4 years. I painted a whole fender with it when I had another truck at one point there, and it was something else though. They called it something different, but sheer silver metallic, 2010 to 2013. So I don't know, I want to do a little test spot, so I think I'm going to spray because I kind of missed some of the upper part here. So I'm just going to touch that a little bit and then kind of take a look at it in relevance to this. I'll do that with both of these and kind of take a look and see what it looks like. Okay, so I guess I'll start. I feel like this one, when you look at it, I don't know if that's enough to paint the whole fender, but I'm going to try it. It's the Duplicolor one. Ooh, that didn't spray very good. So I didn't want to hit the actual fender with it. Almost wish I had something to start spraying to kind of compare it to. Almost need like something that's like not silver, right? If I spray it on the other silver fender or something like that, you won't be able to tell. My son's got an old hood over there. I don't really have anything else I could spray. Not sure here. Try spraying here a little bit. Yeah, this one doesn't spray very good. It's super runny, so don't want to be doing that and then having problems. So let's try this one. They've been sitting in my garage too, so they're cold. I threw them in the house for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that, whatever it was. So maybe they might not be wanting to spray properly because they're cold, but let's try it anyways. Well, I can already tell that looks way closer. So I'm gonna spray the bottom because you can't see the bottom of the fender here. So I'm gonna try that and see what it looks like, and then I'll go from there. I wouldn't have done this if it would have been close, but it's not even like remotely close, so. That one's definitely way closer, interestingly enough. So now I'm at the dilemma. Do I just try to spray the whole thing here? I cleaned it already. I think I'm gonna sand. There was a couple pieces of stuff here that kind of ended up not looking very good. I'm gonna try that. I think I'm gonna respray it. Okay, this isn't gonna be probably exact, but I'm gonna hit it with this one a couple coats and see what it looks like. But I can already see I touched up the top and it looks way closer. So I just cleaned it off once here. I kind of messed things up here a little bit. I'll show you that afterwards, but no big deal. This is like a little bit lighter of a color, but it's still, you know what? It's closer. It's a fair bit closer actually. So you can tell it's a way better paint than that Duplicolor. That thing would have ran like crazy if I would have sprayed it with that. I always try to go side to side, but because I'm not fading it into the next panel, not really much I could do about that. I cleaned it up with some degreaser first, and then I Windexed it really good and gave it a wipe down. Wipe that before it all sticks to my new bumper here. Probably should have covered that, I suppose. And the smarter thing, the one thing that was out of the can here, it like really like mists around. Like you don't get that when you're spraying with like if you're spraying it out of a gun. And I actually do have a gun, but again, to set up the paint booth and whatever for doing that, it's just not worth it. So you can see, even though I was like way off with the color here compared to what the last one was, it is like night and day difference on how close it is. It's a little bit wet there yet, but that kind of gives you an idea. From back here, it's a lot closer. It's kind of shaded here right now, so it's hard to see, but it'll look a little bit better. I'd still like to get it closer, but it'll do for now. All right, my son has arrived with parts. So this was missing the back caps. I took them off the old headlight. The bulbs look different, so I don't know if they're like brighter or something. They're definitely worn down, but again, for who it's for, I think it'll probably be good enough. So I have no idea how this all really goes together, to be totally honest.
Make sure they work.
I did not.
Maybe we should do that before we screw it all in.
My wife says I should probably make sure that they work before I try to screw it all in, which is probably a half decent idea. So that's what we're gonna do.
I'm just putting a jacket on and then I'll help you.
Okay.
Hey, that's a nicer grill than you had.
I know, the thing's ballin'.
Dang.
Well, I'll show you the grill right away, but it actually looks really cool. It's like got cross-hatch metal
Yeah,
and
you're
everything.
gonna look
into it.
like you're like
I know. It's a good
you're
time to
driving
sell it.
something nice. I know. You sell it before you wreck it again.
Oh, damn. It's cold. Okay.
Top one's working.
It looks like it's HIDs.
Yep, they're all working. You want to check your
It's
blinker?
got like the bright bulbs in it. Yeah, it's got. Holy cow, the thing's worn out. Check signal light.
Yeah. It looks like they're all working though.
I don't know where the key is.
Oh. It looked like they were all working because the lights were on, like the blinker lights. They need to get cleaned? Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, you're good. Dang, they even work.
So it looks like it's got high intensity display bulbs in it, but they're like so like rough, but it's probably, actually, you know what? Let's see. 470,000 miles versus these. It looks about the same. So I don't know how many miles they had on them, but whatever. They're like literally, my son works at a parts store and he gets a discount. And even with the discounts, they're like $550 for a new set. So that wasn't going to be happening. So that's why we got all this stuff used. See how this all goes. I have no idea how this goes back together.
Well,
I hope that wasn't supposed to go in before the bumper,
I am wondering.
because that would really suck. Oh no, there we go. Whew.
No, you would think they'd make it changeable because that's something that sometimes has to get changed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everything else?
Looks like there was supposed to be a clip. Maybe it's on the old fender here?
A clip?
Yeah, here.
Oh yeah, there is a clip.
Okay.
I saw that and I was like, what the heck is that for?
Well, now we know. So there's a clip it looks like up here. Get you a little closer here.
On the top.
Looks like it screws in here, here, and down here, I guess. So I guess if the grill's not on, it's not too bad to put them on, but I guess once the grill's on, that's why it's kind of a pain to change the headlights. But the bulbs are easy to get on this side, not so much on the other side, so whatever. So yeah, we'll get this thing screwed down and then I'll show you the grill. All right, headlight installed. Fitment's like a little bit off there just because everything's not 100% perfect, but it fit pretty decent actually. So I'm gonna show you the grill here. Would you like to grab that side for me there? I guess I should flip it hot.
It looks like it's upside down.
Ooh,
I was gonna grab that.
break my new grill.
It's gonna fit like a glove. It's gonna be
So the
super
interesting
weird.
part was the guy sold this thing for pretty much what people were asking for, like stock ones, because he liked the look of the stock one better. So I'll kind of show you this, but man, I like how it looks. I'm still not super happy with
How does
the
this
paint
go in?
there. There's like a bunch of, you gotta push it in
Oh, I
and
see.
then
The
drop
bolts are right there and there. Okay, so then where do these clips go?
it into the clip holes.
Oh, I don't know where that. So.
I don't have. Apparently I took one of the headlight bolts out of this side. Didn't need to. I can quickly throw that back in before I put this back together. No, that because it's not even going into that clip either.
That's what I said. Where's communicating those?
So this thing has clips down in there. If you can see in there or not, and it basically snap clips in. So there's like a whole bunch of. So there's like rubber dowel pins here, and then a whole bunch of like rubber snap-in pieces. It's hard to see here, but that's what we're working on. So what was happening is it was hitting the bump stop on the hood here. I slammed it down really hard and it went, but it's like, whatever. You can kind of see if you look straight at it, there's like a tiny little bit of a gap there, but everything fits pretty decent otherwise. You want to try to pop it here, or we're just not going to open now? Oh, ooh, that was tight. Ooh, was it hard to pull?
Yes.
Okay, I'll show you what's happening here. So there's the little bump stops here, and it's like touching the hood before it actually goes all the way down. So if I could get this off of here, we could probably just leave it off, I guess, but I don't know what else to do really. All right, guys, so that's her. So you can see it doesn't look terrible now that I've painted that fender with the kind of a little closer color paint, but it looks okay. It's not amazing. It's not perfect. People that have seen it already didn't even notice the difference, but yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not perfect, but I really like that grill. It's that new headlight has HIDs in it, which is kind of cool, but like looking right here, it doesn't look any different at all. But probably if you were to get a little closer, you could probably see it a little bit there. But overall, I mean, pretty happy. It all went back together pretty decent. There was nothing major that we couldn't kind of deal with there. I was kind of worried about the fitment of everything. The hood is a little tight. We took the bump stop off there right when we were showing you there. But other than that, I mean, overall, it's kind of back to how it was. The exhaust thing, it stripped the bolts out that hold that Y pipe onto the next piece of pipe there. So not sure what I'm gonna do about that. Other than that, pretty much ready to go for now. So that's gonna do it for this video. Appreciate everybody watching. Appreciate all the support. I'm almost at 1,000 subs here, so pretty happy about that. I'm gonna get rolling with some cool projects here once I do hit that. I've got some good ideas here, but yeah, supposed to hit a little cold spell here, so we'll see what kind of happens with all that. I've still got the other truck there to be working on. I want to do some work to that thing, so kind of get that thing dealt with and moved on, and might even work on my old Duramax. So we'll see how that all goes. But other than that, for now, like I said, thanks for watching again, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, share me around on social media. Cruising with Kevin on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And catch you guys in the next one.